Spider, here comes Spiders, CFL's Red-Zone Rule. That's where I left off on my last session, 13/14. Now for 15, can you believe that? Right on. Okay, Spider's back. Just going to shut this down, okay? This is what I'm going to be, I'm going to have at the 107th Grey Cup in Calgary with a new CFL, actually Spiders' new CFL Red-Zone Rule hats, and our team, our megaphone, and our new banner. That's going to change as well, hopefully, with the new hats, okay? And Steve Armitage is very happy because this is what he wanted me to do. He says from now on it's got to be Spiders CFL Red-Zone Rule. Okay, so I made up all new hats. As you see, they're all Spiders CFL Red-Zone Rule hats, and there's, I still have the Spiders proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule hat, but as you notice in the new hat, the Spider logo is larger. It's enlarged, so they were pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with it, and the people that didn't said, wow, they're awesome, okay? So thanks so much. And speaking about awesome, I want to start right off the bat with an email I received, okay, which really blew me away, that I want to read to you, okay? And if it doesn't come up right away here, I'll go back to it. So, okay, it's not going to come up right away, so I'll go back to it. And I want to go also, in my last session, okay, when I said, I meant to say apology, not apologize the second time, okay? We all make mistakes in grammar, and okay, all right? We made lots of them in school, didn't we? This is going to be a lot more intimate setting, okay, because I'm really pressed for time. It's a real bugger, you know, and I want to just say to you, I don't possess to be a media sports figure, because when I experienced it firsthand, I found a lot of them, a tremendous amount of them to be very pompous, very egotistical, and they know everything about CFL football. And I also found that with the, I hate to say it, with the CFL Rules Committee and with Mr. Ambrosi and Ryan Jenner and the CFL. So when I read you this, what I received from a fan of my Spiders CFL Red-Zone Rule that was on YouTube, and I hope he's going to be listening. It meant a lot to me, and it's very touching, really, and it's going to motivate me. And I'm going to also send it to Steve Armitage and to Jamie Nine and to Mr. Vanstone. They're all behind my CFL Red-Zone Rule, and they're not pompous, and they're sports figures, prominent sports figures, but there's too many that are, so I want to stay clear of them. And so I'm just an authentic country boy, okay? From down east, Mahone Bay, Lunenburg County, with a blue nose, and the Bounty was built that sunk. Okay, so you know, I'm pure, I'm authentic, and I just come up with a CFL Red-Zone Rule, because I love our game, and I just want to make it better. And when I read this email, it's really touching, and also no different than the someone in Calgary that I read an article on that come up with. You know, a product. Mine was a rule, his was a product, and it was a square circle, okay, apparel product, and I was pretty impressed with it. And his website, he has a new website as well, so, you know, check him out, because he really deserves a lot of support as well, and his product is fantastic, and it's for wrestling. Okay, in the ring wrestling. So I need all the wrestling square circle apparel fans too as well, and wrestling fans that are football fans, and hopefully we can persuade them now to be a CFL fans, if they're NFL fans, and get behind my Spiders CFL Red-Zone Rule and make it a reality. And by the way, the fans most important, not the pompous egotistical media out there that think they know it all and think they know everything about CFL. It's the fan, you, and it's like this fan that I'm going to read his email, that are the most important, that will make my CFL Red-Zone Rule part of the three-down game, because of the power of the sports fans' voice, seriously, and we can do it together, okay? So I wanted to give a shout out to Square Circle Apparel, and good luck to that inventor and his product and his line. And I want you, all your Square Circle apparel fans, to be a SPYDER CFL Red-Zone Rule fan as well. So we need you too, to join in with us. And we're going to build momentum, and we're going to build hopefully thousands of CFL and sports fans in general behind my CFL Red-Zone Rule. So at the Grey Cup and any live CFL game this year, I want to hear chanting loud in the red zone. We want SPYDER CFL Red-Zone Rule. You like my megaphone? You're going to hear me at the Grey Cup with that, I tell you. I want to get to read this now. Sorry to keep you waiting. I probably kept him in suspense, and he probably didn't think I was going to read this. But I'm going to read it, and it really impressed me. And I'm going to send this to the important people like Steve Armity. He's done 27 Grey Cups, has given my CFL Red-Zone Rule a stamp approval behind it 100%, and Jamie Nine and Mr. Vance on the leader post too. Here it is right here. He sent it on YouTube, and I'll read it to you. It's from Jordan Ingstrom. Sounds European. Commented on my video. SPYDER CFL Red-Zone Rule, look back and ahead. CFL versus NFL rules, Halifax Stadium update, part 12. So, I would think he probably went through them all from 1, 2, and 3 that are very important, all the way up to part 12. And he says, Jordan says, SPYDER, you and your rule are awesome. Referring to my CFL Red-Zone Rule. And he says, your rule will change our game, the CFL 3-down game, for the better. He says, thank you for continuing your efforts to make this beautiful game of Canadian football even more amazing than it already is. So he's saying, basically what he's saying, that just like Steve Armity said, and all the 350 plus people I surveyed that were blown away and fascinated and really sold my CFL Red-Zone Rule, he's saying the same thing, that it'll make our game a lot better, a lot more entertaining, a lot more exciting brand of CFL 3-down football to watch and be part of. So thank you, Jordan. That's very, very kind of you. And I need more and more people like that. He's very genuine. He's a real good person, and he's awesome. And he's very respectful and very tuned in, really appreciates it, and did his homework, and probably knows all the 10 SPYDER's 10 super features and benefits of my CFL Red-Zone Rule as well. So now I'm just going to go back to where I left off. I don't know if I made any other mistakes I want to talk about. Probably did. We'll forget them. I didn't want to leave either the 2 sessions before when I said anyway, and then the way it ended last time. It's a bugger, and it just times out on its own, and I'm an amateur, and I just try to put everything in I can into my script, and it's not rehearsed. It's all live takes and no remakes. So here we go. Let's have some fun, and let's go back to where I left off with Mr. Ambrosi's, the commissioner, on the waggle, just at the end here.
Solution for our biggest market, by the way, because one of the nonsense things I've heard, people will say, Randy, focus on big things, Toronto, and I say, well, yeah, but let's look at Toronto, which is not largely defined by its Canadianism, it's largely defined by its internationalism. It's a big international city now, and we can't expect that the solution from 20 or 30 years ago is necessarily the solution for today. And it's one of the reasons why we've got support from our teams for this, is because they're looking at the data and looking at this as a solution to our biggest city market challenge, and finding a way to reinvent ourselves in the moment and creating a way to grow our game. Having said that, we can try next question. The last question, thank you again. That's your point. Question, you talk about taking a back seat. Alliance League started by a friend of CFL, Bill Poirier, recently. They've decided that they're a development league for the NFL. The XFL, on the other hand, has decided to try to be competition for the NFL. Two-part question. One is, are the development opportunities for the CFL in terms of partnerships, is that exclusive to the international community, or would you look to do something with the league in the United States? The And secondly, on that pendulum, that spectrum between development and or competition with the NFL, where on the spectrum would you say the CFL is? Well, Donovan, it's a great question, and I'll take you back to a conversation that I had with Roger Goodell about a year ago. And one of the most inspiring moments of that meeting was when Roger said, Randy, your league has got way too much great history. It's had too big an impact on the world of football to take a backseat to anyone. And I thought to myself in that moment how much I thought of Roger in that moment when he shared his own perspective on what we have here at the Canadian Football League. So one is, I don't want to be, and I don't want us to ever be thought of as a development league for anyone. Do I think players can develop here and then end up in the NFL? Sure they can. That's fine. And I think that's been part of our rich history as well. But I also think we should become the development league for talent. We should become the development league for players all around the world that come here. And then ultimately, we become the top of that food chain. We can become the great international league. And in a way that in our country we've never, or in our sport we've never seen before. What about the CFL as the big international league, as a way of distinguishing ourselves in the football community? And it also happens to align at a time when our country's star is shining. We are very well thought of around the world, and it's obvious to me when I meet with these people from the football community that part of their excitement is just who we are as a country, and their pride of being associated with Canadians. And I think all Canadians should be proud of that, by the way, because I certainly am. So it's I know these other leagues are coming on, but let's also remember that other leagues have come on before, and so we don't know how this will play out. We have to focus on our own plan. We have to focus on how do we grow our game, how do we attract great talent here. And one of the ways to do that is to grow our game, to grow our revenue, because that's the only way ultimately that I can find a pathway to making sure that I can do for the players what I'm hoping to do, and that's to make sure they're incredibly well paid, and that we are competitive in the world of sports. And I can't do that unless I can grow our game, and this is the pathway for success for everybody. Well, it's certainly been interesting to follow and to cover, and I'm interested to see what the next iteration of CFL 2.0 is, but sounds like it's off to a good start. Thank you. I'll let you get back to your day job, your agency, starting.
There you go. Okay, I'm going to go back to some of the things he said before, and I'm just going to generalize. We're going to have a very intimate chat here, and I'm going to direct questions directly to Mr. Ambrosi and ask some questions. I hope he's listening, hope he's watching, and if he, I can guarantee you, I'd be inquisitive about what SPYDER's doing with his CFL Red-Zone Rule. I can guarantee you I would if I was the commissioner, and I think I would be somewhat embarrassed, okay, for the way he treated me in my CFL Red-Zone Rule. But anyway, I took enough shots at him. I'll give him credit where credit is due, but what he did to me and my CFL Red-Zone Rule and how he handled it, which I went over in previous sessions, was a lot worse than me fighting back and calling him out and taking some shots at him, which I feel he deserves. He deserves, okay. But if he does accomplish something, I will give him credit. I'm not that type of person. Don't hold grudges. Although I did say I lost a lot of respect for him, and I have. So he has to earn my respect back. And actually, that would be a good email that Jordan sent me to send to the commissioner. Someone to send to the commissioner. Jordan, send that to the commissioner, Randy Ambrosi. Okay? Anyway, what he's saying about, decline in Canadian players in the tens of thousands, if I got the correct number and I could hear it properly on the replay, in Canada, And now you have like Laval, you know, doing pro days. So the NFL scouts, they got NFL players from Laval, Laval players from Laval now playing in the NFL, and they're encouraging more NFL scouts to go to Laval for their pro day, what they're doing, and to showcase their top Laval players, so they're signed in the NFL. And those top players aren't going to be interested in the CFL Combine, or interested in even playing the CFL. We're interested in the Canadian draft, CFL draft, that's for sure. As we know, what's going on now, it's exactly what's going on. So I don't like the way the CFL is structured, and I'm going to call you out on it, Mr. Ambrosi. And I know you were part of the CFL's Players Association, and you were a guaranteed Canadian ratio alignment. And the Canadian ratio, you're going on about, you know, with your 2.0 vision, to allow the best available players to play in the CFL, and for competition, the best against the best makes the best for talent pool, and for the best players playing in the CFL. But how is that going to happen, Mr. Ambrosi, with a Canadian starter ratio that's guaranteed? 7 Canadian starter ratio positions guaranteed that have to be refilled too, okay, for injury, okay, and also, if they're not good enough, doesn't matter. They automatically are guaranteed 7 Canadian starter spots on a CFL team. So how are you going to promote a CFL 3-down football around the world with a product like that, where you're not even allowed to play the best available players? How are you going to get TV contracts around the world when you have a Canadian ratio, okay, that doesn't even allow the best available players to start and play at every position for entire CFL game, and for CFL playoffs, and in the Grey Cup? Can you imagine? Like Huffnagel said, it's a hard word. He's a hard coaching name to say. Like Huff said, I'll shorten and abbreviate it. When he was asked about why, I said this early in one of my sessions, why aren't there 5 or 6 top American players playing in the Western Final against the Edmonton Eskimos to go to the Grey Cup in Edmonton? We were there, my son and I. 5 or 6 players. He's a Canadian ratio problem. He said it 5 times to the sports media question that he asked. You know, he knows. The general managers know. The coaches know. Like, it's unbelievable. So, Mr. Ambrosi, you're not being straight up here. Now, when you were asked a question about that, how is that going to affect the, you know, what are we going to have? That's what I said before. I said, we're going to have a Mexican and a European now guaranteed ratio. How's that going to affect the Canadian ratio, you were asked? Okay? And so what I'm trying to say here is that, like, this is just bizarre that you're talking like this and on this podcast and saying what you're saying. How is this ever going to happen? How are you going to ever sell CFL 3-down football in other parts of the world and get new TV deals when you don't even allow the best available players to play because of a handcuffing, dictating, controlling Canadian starter ratio? That's controlled, by the way, by the Canadian Players Association, made up mostly of Canadian players and carefully selected Canadian O-linemen. And the president, who's a guaranteed Canadian O-lineman, okay? That got lawyers already with, okay, on the labor laws, ready to if you, and by the way, they know you're one of them, so I don't think you're gonna implement this or try to implement this. I know the owners want it, the football fans want it, CFL fans want it. I found out in my survey, they want it, the coaches gotta want it, and the CFL has to have it if they're gonna survive and stay in business and grow their brand of CFL 3-down football. And they also, in my survey, like I found, they got to make our CFL 3-down game itself better. Like, I mean, with challenge flags and all this garbage. Come on. You got to recognize that, hey, like on my numbers, like Steve Arden said, just on my numbers alone, the presentation I made, the numbers that I gave, you know, in the 54.8% average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone in 2017, and it declined last year somewhat. And that was a trend from 50 to 54%, okay, 0.8% for the last 10 years. That's not good enough. And the case in point, last year, can you imagine the Riders, the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, the most prominent CFL franchise that just got awarded the 2020 Grey Cup. Congratulations, congratulations to Calgary Tiger Cats too, who really deserve it for the 2021. I hope they can put enough seats in, okay? because it didn't build that stadium right, that new stadium right. In Halifax, if you do the same, you know, if you're not going to build Halifax a CFL model stadium that has at least 25,000 permanent seats between the goal lines with all the amenities, okay, and skybox and club seats and restaurants, everything that a CFL owner needs at his disposal to make his franchise successful and to stage a Grey Cup in a capital city like Halifax that's growing, then Mayor Savage, get out of town. And you pompous, a bunch bonehead councillors, get out of town, get out of town. Don't waste their time. Tell them to go to Quebec City where they'd be welcome with open arms, okay? So getting back to what I was saying, yes, you know, so you don't even, so all these challenge flags, when I found in my survey that the biggest killer, biggest turnoff of our CFL 3-down game is too many 2-and-outs, okay, too much kicking in the CFL game, too many field goals for too many points in the CFL, and worse, second down stops in the red zone. Those were the two biggest killers and turnoffs, resulting in more boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals that no football fan wants to see in a 3-down game. That will totally disappear from my CFL Red-Zone Rule. Both of those turnoffs and two biggest killers of our CFL 3-down game. That's what you need, Mr. Ambrosi. You need my CFL Spiders combo. You need to eliminate the Canadian starter ratio if you want to sell a 3-down game around the world and start getting more people to watch it, because you're losing a lot of viewers, and look at your empty seats. Okay, so it's not selling. So you got to allow the best available players to start and play in the CFL, like the NHL, like NBA, like Major League Baseball, okay, like the NHL, and yes, even MLS soccer, okay? They're doing it, and look at their stadiums, they're full, and because they're allowing the best available players to start. And you got to get rid of the Canadian roster, guaranteed Canadian roster ratio as well. That's half a CFL roster. It doesn't matter if they're good enough or not to make the team. They're automatically in the roster spot and a guaranteed Canadian starter spot. This is unbelievable. It's got to be eliminated. It's got to be abolished. And my CFL Red-Zone Rule is going to be made part of CFL 3-down game. And then, like on the 6th fix, so my last session, then you got a product to sell, Mr. Ambrosi. And how are you going to do that, Mr. Ambrosi? By snowing everybody. And being manipulative and not answering the questions and beating around the bush. Yeah, you're going to change the Canadian starter ratio when you were one of them. Okay, when you belonged to the Canadian Players Association, when you took the CFL to court and fought them against the Canadian ratio that they wanted changed like every other, to be like every other professional sports league to allow the best available players to play in the CFL. Come on. You proved me wrong, Mr. Ambrosi. Okay, and I'll give you a gold star. Seriously. Okay, so I'm really shooting from the hip here, and I tell it the way it is. That's the thing about me. I tell it the way it is, and I'm going to call out the CFL and Mr. Ambrosi. I'm going to call you out. You're doing your road trip across Canada. Okay, you're in Calgary. What do you have, a gag order? No one asks you about the Canadian ratio, do they? Problem. They never ask you about that. And by the way, Mr. Ambrosi, who's running the CFL? The CFL is not. The owners aren't. The Canadian Players Association, made up of carefully Canadian, guaranteed Canadian linemen like you were, and a president like you were, keeping, who was a guaranteed Canadian lineman, okay, starting lineman, who are dictating who starts and plays in the CFL and who's on a CFL roster. That's the question. That's the real question. I want you to hear this. CFL fans out there, and sports fans, and NFL only fans, I want you to hear this. Okay, it's all a big cover-up with Ambrosi and the CFL. I want you to hear this, and I'm telling you, and I'm glad I'm telling you, and I hope you're listening, really and truly, because I'm telling you the way it is, and I'm giving you the real facts and the real truth. What's wrong with CFL, with our 3-down game, okay, and what's really wrong with the CFL, and why they're declining in popularity in droves. People are walking away from our game, and look at the empty seats, and look at the 1 million viewers down. 1 million viewers last year at the 106th Grey Cup at Edmonton, okay, in viewership. And the NFL Super Bowl up like 22% in Canada, and their regular games up like 19% or whatever. Those are close numbers, reported by 3 Down Nation. But anyway, I get a little riled up here. I get really, because I'm very passionate and I care about a CFL 3 Down game, and I care about it surviving. And now with the Lions Football League and XFL coming in, and by the way, Singfield and Evans now from the Calgary Stampeders and other really top CFL players are going to the Lions Football League, and of course, you talk about, you know, want the best available players, and don't want to be a development league and a feeder league, Mr. Ambrosi. Look at your NFL window that you brought in September, mid-season. Okay, to allow more top CFL players freely to go to the NFL, and your one-year contracts. Look at that. How that's destroying our game, and more top CFL players have gone to the NFL this year, never before. And 322 free agents. Come on, look what it did to Ottawa. Depleted their whole team. What a joke. Okay? And you talk about that how the CFL is not a development league, not a feeder league for the NFL. Come on, it is a development league, and it is a feeder league for the NFL. And you got major issues, Mr. Ambrosi, and major problems you've got to resolve. Okay, and if you're going to be genuine and do what you say you're going to do in that radio broadcast, the broadcast you did on the Waggle. So I just want to say in closing here. We need you behind my CFL Red-Zone Rule. We need you to be loud at the CFL game this year and chanting loud in the Red Zone. We want SPYDER CFL Red-Zone Rule. And then at the 107th Grey Cup in Calgary, we're going to be there with our megaphone and our banners and our our SPYDER CFL Red-Zone Rule hats. And we're going to be loud. And we're going to be up in Facebook soon. My son sent me an email, said we're going to work it on this weekend. And we'll hopefully have a gathering at the 107th Grey Cup in Calgary, and we'll see you there. And we're going to have workshops, and I'm going to be back probably in the spring now, okay? But you'll see us up on Facebook very soon, okay? Take care, all the best, and remember, let's hear you chanting loud in the Red Zone. We want SPYDER CFL Red Zone Rule. Signing off, SPYDER.